Hello everybody, welcome into the very first lesson of Algebra 1. So today and the next several lessons are going to largely seem like a review of pre-algebra, especially because today all we're going to do is evaluate algebraic expressions. So here you're told to evaluate the expression if t equals 6, x equals 3, y equals 4, and z equals 5. Well, all we have is 2x plus 7. Whenever you're told to evaluate the expression and you have variables and you have the value of the variables, all you got to do is put that value of the variable in for where you see that variable, and then you'll come up with a nice equation. So I put in 3 for x because x equals 3. I'll get 2 times 3 plus 7. Well, 2 times 3, that's 6, so we'd have 6 plus 7, which, as we know, would equal 13. So the answer to this, 2x plus 7, it would be 13. If we stick in 3 for x, we get 13. And I got more examples, plenty more, in fact. Alright, what about 5y minus 3. So I have 5y minus 3. Well, they tell you here y equals 4, so I'll stick in 4 for where I see y. So I'll get 5 times 4 minus 3. Well, 5 times 4, that gives me 20. Then minus 3, so that would give me 17. So 5y minus 3, based on the evaluation criteria, would be 17. Alright, we got 18 minus 4x. So we've been given 18 minus 4x. Well, the evaluation criteria tell me that x equals 3, so I'm going to stick in 3 for where I see x. I'll get 18 minus 4 times 3. Well, we know we have 18 minus 4 times 3. We'll keep the 18. We'll do minus. That 4 times 3 is 12. Now we got 18 minus 12. You get 6. So the answer to 18 minus 4x is it equals 6. It's all in the order of operations. If you're unsure how to deal with order of operations, please see my previous videos that deal with order of operations. I have several between Basic Math 1, Basic Math 2, and Pre-Algebra on how to deal with order of operations. So, since this is Algebra 1, I'm not really reviewing order of operations too much. But if you should need it, there's no shame in it. Just see some of the previous videos, and I explain it in a lot more depth in those previous videos. So we're going to continue here. Alright, let's see. We got 7z plus 8. So we're given the algebraic expression 7z plus 8. Well, the evaluation criteria tells us that z equals 5. So I'm going to substitute 5 in for where I see z. So I'll get 7 times 5 plus 8. Well, 7 times 5, that's 35. So you'll have 35 plus 8, which turns out would equal 43. So, yeah, 35 plus 8 is in fact 43. Alright, now here's where it gets fun. We get xy plus z. All of a sudden we have 3 variables in an equation. We got xy plus z. Well, we're told here x equals 3, so we'll substitute 3 in for wherever we see x. We'll substitute 4 because y equals 4. We'll substitute 4 in for y. So you'll start with 3 times 4 plus, we're told that z equals 5, so that would be plus 5. So now you have the equation 3 times 4 plus 5. Well, 3 times 4, since we do multiplication first, that'd be 12. You get 12 plus 5. That would equal 17. So the answer to this is, in fact, 17. Alright, let's see. We got zt minus y. So we have z times t minus y. Well, we're told here that z equals 5, so we'll substitute 5 in for z. We're told that t equals 6, so we'll put 6 in for t, minus, then you got your y value, y equals 4. So now you're left with 5 times 6 minus 4. Well, 5 times 6 is 30. Then you have minus 4. You got 30 minus 4. That would turn out to be 26. So it's just a matter of substituting your values of variables in and then doing the order of operations. That's really all it is. So it's nothing too bad. Alright, now we have 4xz plus 3y. Alright, so we got 4xz plus 3y. Well, here we're told x equals 3, so we'll have 4 times that x value of 3 times the z value. Z is supposed to be 5, so we'll put 5 in for z. Then you have plus 3 times your y value. Y is equal to 4. So now you got the equation here of 4 times 3 times 5 plus 3 times 4. Well, of course, you do your multiplication first. 4 times 3 is 12, times 5 is 60. Plus 3 times 4, that's 12. Now you got 60 plus 12, that would equal 72. So the answer you would get after substituting in the values of the variables and doing your order of operations would be 72. Alright, we got a fun one here, 9xyz minus t. So we got 9xyz minus t. Well, we still have the 9 here for the first term, but the x value is 3, so we'll put in 3 for the x value, times 4 for your y value, times 5 for your z value, minus your t value. T is supposed to be 6. So now you're left with 9 times 3 times 4 times 5 minus 6. Let's see, 27 times... Well, I think I'm going to want to break out the calculator for the first term. 9 times 3 times 4 times 5 would be 540. So the first term you do the multiplication, you'll get 540, then minus 6. 540 minus 6, that is going to be 534. So the answer for this algebraic expression, after putting all the variables in and doing putting the values of the variables in for where they go and doing your order of operations, is 534. Alright, what do we got here? We got 5 times the quantity of 3y minus 4x. Alright, so we got 5 times the quantity of 3y minus 4x. Well, again, you'll just substitute your y and x values in for whatever those are. I'm going to convert the outer parentheses here into a bracket, so you'll have 5 times, you got the bracket of 3 times in parentheses y is supposed to be 4, so you get 3 times 4 minus 4 times the value of x being 3. You see why I converted the outer parentheses into brackets? Because you're going to have inner parentheses, and if you have parentheses and parentheses, they can get confusing very quickly. So now on the outside, you got 5 times the quantity of 3 times 4 minus 4 times 3. Well, again, order of operations dictates first we do what's inside the brackets or parentheses. So 3 times 4, that's going to be 12, minus 4 times 3, that's also 12. Well, again, the order of operations dictates we do what's inside the brackets or parentheses, so you just have 12 minus 12, that's just 0. Then you just got 5 times 0, well, that's just going to be just that, it'll be 0. So the answer is in fact 0. That's what you would get. Alright, we got 6y minus 2xy. So now we got the algebraic expression 6y minus 2xy. Well, still, we're going to put in the values of the variables where they belong. For y equaling 4, we'll put in 4 for wherever we see y. So we'll have 6 times 4 minus 2 times the value of x. X is supposed to equal 3. And then y is supposed to equal 4. Alright, so we got 6 times 4 minus 2 times 3 times 4. Well, 6 times 4 is in fact 24. Then we'll have the minus sign. We'll do 2 times 3, which is 6, times 4, which is 24. You got 24 minus 24, which we know would equal 0. So the answer to this would in fact be 0. Alright, let's see. We got x, y, z minus 4 times z. So we got x, y, z minus 4z. Well, again, we'll just substitute in the values for the variables. X equals 3, so we'll put in 3 for x, times we got the y term. Y equals 4, so we'll put in 4 for the y, times your z term. Z equals 5, so you have that times 5. Minus all that minus 4 times your z term. Z equals 5, so we'll have 4 times 5 for the second term. So what you got is 3 times 4 times 5 minus 4 times 5. Well, let's do all the multiplication first. 3 times 4 is 12 times 5. So 12 times 5, that is 60. Minus 4 times 5, that is 20. 60 minus 20, that in fact equals 40. So the answer you would get for this algebraic expression is in fact 40. How many more do I got? Several more. Alright, this is where it gets a bit fun. We have in parentheses y times y plus z, all that times z. So inside the parentheses we got y times y plus z, the whole quantity times z. Well, we know from the evaluation criteria y equals 4, so in the parentheses you'll have 4 times 4 because y equals 4, plus z is supposed to equal 5, so you'll have that plus 5, that whole quantity times 5, because z equals 5. Okay. Well, of course we got to do what's in the parentheses first. Inside the parentheses we have multiplication and addition. Multiplication comes first, so 4 times 4 is 16. You'll have that plus 5. that quantity times 5, well, we're still dealing with what's in the parentheses. 16 plus 5, that's going to be 21. So now you're just left with 21 times 5, which would equal 105. So after evaluating this algebraic expression, after sticking the values of the variables in and doing the order of operations, you get an answer of 105. All right, what's next? All right, let's see. We got 9x plus z all over x plus z. Now we're getting fractions involved in this. Well, that's okay. It doesn't change what we have to do. We stick in the value of x being 3, so we'll put in 9 times the value of x, which is 3, plus that value of z, which is 5, all over that value of x being 3, plus that value of z being 5. Well, we take it each by numerator and denominator in these types of expressions. In the numerator, we have 9 times 3, which is 27, plus 5, all over 3 plus 5. Well, in numerator, 27 plus 5, that's 32. All over 3 plus 5, well, that's 8. 32 over 8, 32 divided by 8, that equals 4. So the answer you would get would in fact be 4. Alright, 4y minus 2t. Let's start there. 4y minus 2t all over y plus 2t. Alright, so we got the algebraic expression 4y minus 2t all over y plus 2t. Well, again, substitute in your values for the variables wherever you see the variables. Y equals 4. So in the numerator, we'll put in 4 times y, which is 4 times 4, minus 2 times that value of t, t equals 6, all over that value of y, which is 4, plus 2 times that value of t, which is 6. Alright, so now let's stick with the numerator. 4 times 4, that's going to be 16, minus 2 times 6, which is in fact 12, all over 4, plus what is 2 times 6? That's 12. So in the numerator, you got 16 minus 12, that's going to be 4. 4 plus 12 in the denominator, that's 16. Well, we know 4/16, that reduces to 1/4. So the answer for this expression would in fact be 1/4. That's exactly what you get, 1/4. I have about 6 more problems. So I got 10t minus z all over 10 times the quantity of t minus z. So the numerator and denominator are a little bit different. So of course, wherever you see your variables, substitute the value of those variables in. T equals 6, so you'll put in the numerator 10 times 6 minus that value of z, which is supposed to be 5. So you'll have 10 times 6 minus 5 in the numerator over the denominator of 10 times the quantity t is 6 minus z, which is 5. Now let's take this one at a time. The numerator, 10 times 6, that's 60, minus 5, all over 10 times the quantity of 6 minus 5, which would in fact be 1. So the numerator, 60 minus 5, that's going to equal 55, all over the denominator of 10 times 1, which is simply 10. Well, we know 55 tenths reduces. 55 tenths would reduce to 11 halves. So the answer for this would be 11 halves. In this course, my personal preference is to leave it as an improper fraction. You are more than welcome to leave it as an improper fraction. Now, when we get into graphing and plotting points later in the course, it may help you personally to convert that to a mixed number so you know about where to plot a point. But I'm the type of teacher that's okay with you leaving it as an improper fraction. But again, I say this before, I am not a replacement for your teacher. I'm there to help you, be a supplement. But if your teacher wants it a different way than me, then listen to your teacher. That's the best advice I could give you. But you stick in the values of the variables, do the order of operations, you'll get 11 over 2 for this. Alright, 5 more. We got 2 times the quantity of y plus x all over 2y plus x. Alright, well, again, in the numerator, let's take it one part at a time, you'll have 2 times the quantity of, well, the value of y is going to be 4, plus the value of x, which is 3. So you have 2 times the quantity of 4 plus 3 over the denominator, 2 times the value of y, which is 4, plus the value of x, which is 3. So now, let's work with the numerator. 2 times the parentheses, 4 plus 3, that's going to be 2 times 7, over the denominator, which is 2 times 4, that's 8, plus 3, which is 11, which in the numerator, 2 times 7, that's 14, the denominator, 8 plus 3, that's 11, so the answer you would get is going to be 14 elevenths. You would get 14 elevenths for the value of this expression after substituting in the values of the variables and doing the order of operations. Alright. Just got 4 more. What do we got here? Oh, this is going to be fun. We have 2 times, in brackets, x plus 4 times, in parentheses, y plus z. Alright. So we got parentheses inside of brackets, which are often called nested parentheses. Well, first thing you want to do, just start with putting in the values of your variables. You have 2 times the quantity of x is supposed to be 3, so you'll have 3 plus 4 times the quantity of y, which is 4, plus z, which is 5. Okay, now that we've established what the equation is going to look like when we put in the values of our variables, where the variables are, it's time we deal with the order of operations, which would require us to deal with the nested parentheses first. So you'll have 2 on the outside of the brackets. Then inside the bracket, you'll have 3 plus 4 times what's in parentheses. 4 plus 5, that's going to be 9. Okay. Well, we still got to deal with what's inside the brackets. We have 2 on the outside of the brackets times 3 plus 4 times 9. 4 times 9, well, that's 36. Now we just left with what's inside the brackets. You still keep 2 on the outside, but inside the brackets you just got 3 plus 36. That's going to be 39. So now you're just left with 2 times 39. You would get 78. So 78 would be your answer for this expression here. Once you substitute the values of the variables and do the order of operations, you get 78. All right, got 3 more. Let's see, we got 3 times the quantity of z plus 5 times the quantity of 2y minus x. Okay. So again, we have our algebraic expression. Now we just simply need to substitute in the values of the variables. You'll have 3 on the outside bracket. We know z is equal to 5, so we'll put in 5 for where we see z, plus 5 times the quantity of 2. Then we got the value of y being 4, so you have 2 times 4 minus that value of x, which is 3. So now we got parentheses inside of parentheses, which are nested parentheses. Well, order of operations tells us you start with the nested parentheses first. So you'll have 3 on the outside of the bracket still, times the quantity of 5 plus 5. Now inside your parentheses, you have 2 times 4 minus 3. Your multiplication comes first, so you'll have 5 times 8 minus 3. Well, we still have nested parentheses to deal with, so we need to deal with that. So you'll have 3 times the quantity of 5 plus 5 times what's in parentheses, 8 minus 3, that's simply 5. Okay, so now we still have to deal with what's inside the brackets. You'll have 3 on the outside of the brackets. You'll have inside, you'll have 5 plus the 5 times 5, which is 25. So now you just got to deal with what's inside the brackets again. Well, inside the brackets, you got 3 on the outside, but inside you have 5 plus 25, which is 30. So you'll have 3 times 30, which would in fact equal 90. So the answer for this algebraic expression would give you 90. By the time you substitute your value for the variables in and perform your order of operations, you would get 90. I have 2 more examples, then we'll be done for the day. Alright, what's next? We have brackets with parentheses. Inside the parentheses we got 5y plus 6z that quantity minus 3t. That ends the brackets. Then we divide that. We divide all that by y. So yeah, this one looks like a doozy, doesn't it? Well, again, all you got to worry about is putting in the values of the variables. So here where we see we have 5 times y, you'll do 5 times the value of y, which is 4. So you'll have 5 times 4 plus 6 times the value of z, which is 5. And then you'll have all that inside the parentheses inside the bracket, minus 3 times the value of t, which is 6. All that inside the brackets divided by your y value, which is 4. Okay. Well, again, order of operations. This is why all throughout basic math 1 and 2 and pre-algebra, I've been preaching about order of operations. Now that we're in algebra 1, it's come expected that you're kind of okay with this. So we're just going to do a simple order of operations, which will go inside the bracket first. And actually inside the bracket, we got to deal with the nested parentheses first. Inside the parentheses, you have the quantity of 5 times 4 plus 6 times 5. Well, multiplication comes first inside the parentheses. 5 times 4, that's 20. Plus, then you have 6 times 5, which is 30. All that, then you have minus 3 times 6 outside the immediate parentheses would be 18. All that divided by 4. So now we go inside the brackets again, deal with your parentheses. You got 20 plus 30, that's 50. So you'll have 50 minus 18. All that divided by 4. So now we deal with what's inside the brackets. 50 minus 18, that's going to be 32. You're just down to 32 divided by 4. That's all you're down to after you've done these order of operations. You just get 32 divided by 4, which would give you 8. So the answer for this expression is in fact 8. Last problem, we're there. Alright, so outside the brackets we have 2t minus inside brackets. We have 7z divided by, in parentheses, y plus x. Alright. So all we got to do here to start, put in the values of your variables. Outside the parentheses, you have 2 times t. T is equal to 6, so you'll do 2 times 6. Minus, we'll go inside the brackets. You have 7 times z. So z is equal to 5. You'd have 7 times 5. All divided by, in parentheses, you'd have y plus x. Well, y is 4. Plus the value of x, which is 3. Okay, so now that we've got the values of the variables in place, it's time to deal with the orders of operation. So outside the brackets, you have, for the first term, 2 times 6, that's going to be 12. Minus, let's go inside the brackets. You have 7 times 5, that would be 35. Divided by, you have what's in parentheses, 4 times 4 plus 3, that'd be 7. So now in the brackets, all you're left with is 35 divided by 7, which in fact, order of operations dictates we deal with the brackets or parentheses first. So you'd have 12 minus outside of that. Inside the brackets, you would have 35 divided by 7, which would be 5. So now you're simply down to 12 minus 5, which is 7. So the answer for this expression would in fact be 7. So that's really it for today's lesson. Today's lesson was nothing more than you have an algebraic expression, you're given the value of the variables for that algebraic expression, so you stick in the value of those variables wherever you see said variables, and then you just perform order of operations and you get a result. So that's all for this lesson, but the next lesson we are going to do some translating words into symbols. We're going to kind of get into word problems a little bit. Review word problems, really. So I hope everybody has a good night. Take care.